hopefully you fasten your seatbelts for the next 2 hours.
Right.
That's nonsense, Quinn. I'm not buying it. I'm sorry.
I don't care what you buy.
That's nonsense.
My feeling.
You're not just buying a racetrack. You're buying a piece of American racing history right there. I mean, that's huge. The history behind the track, just mind-boggling.
You hear a lot of rumors in the rumor mill. I'll just keep tuning in to you guys to hear the truth when it comes down to it. So
don't do that. I've already had one dose of tin hat syndrome today. I don't need a second one.
Stuart Friesen said to Brett, he says, "Why don't you bring us to more places like this?" And Brett goes, "There isn't any other place like this."
Race fans, it's time to throw it up on the cushion and get dirty. Coming to you live from the Finger Lakes and Southern Tier, it's time for Turn 5 Live. Now your hosts of Turn 5 Live, Steve Ovens, Clint Miller, and Brad Ovens.
Welcome aboard, race fans, to this week's episode of Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Double trouble. Steven and Brad Ovens opening up the show with you tonight. Jacob Seelman and Brad behind the glass at the Race City USA Studios in Mooresville, North Carolina, ready to go with tonight's episode. And, not a whole lot of racing action this past weekend to talk about. We will get to some of the results from this past weekend up at the Brockville, Ontario Speedway a little bit later on, but we've got a big show coming up this weekend. The Outlaw Speedway Dutch Hoag Memorial Sevens Wild Nationals coming up this Saturday, the October 22nd. Heat races slated to kick off at 1 o'clock with the features ready to go at 5:30. And so Tyler Siri from Outlaw Speedway is going to join us on the program at 7:45 tonight. Coming up a little bit later on at 8:15, Dean Reynolds from the Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints will join us to not only talk about their event coming up this weekend, but also, Brad, just announced last night, the ESS Hall of Fame selections took place, and how about it for Penn Yan's Lance Young? Is going to be inducted into the Empire Super Sprints Hall of Fame on Saturday, November 12th. We're going to be there covering all of that, as Lance is, for a lot of us Penn Yan guys, is just an absolute hero to so many, and a real popular guy locally as far as the racing world is concerned. He will be inducted into the Empire Super Sprints Hall of Fame. And Brad, a guy that you have got to know well, with the 305 ranks, Mike Van Dusen going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So I'll tell you, two names that have been synonymous with 360 sprint car racing and really sprint car racing in general going to be inducted. And I couldn't think of two better guys to go in the Hall of Fame, Brad.
Absolutely. You know, you talk about Lance, all the different accomplishments that he's made, and you would have to ask him how many years consecutively he ran with the Empire Super Sprints. But, I mean, it was from the time that we were little to the time that we were starting to we were a good year or two into the show here. So, I mean, he's been around for a long, long time. You know, that was really cool to see. And Mike Van Dusen, he's been around sprint car racing for probably twice as long as you and I have. And he's a really, you can tell by seeing him at the racetrack, you know, he's still got guys coming over and asking him questions. He still offers all the same help. He still has a 305 and a 360 sprint car that he's been putting drivers in and out of and getting it out on the track still. So, you know, just two guys that are really, really cool to see go into the Hall of Fame this year.
As I mentioned, also joining us on the program tonight, Jacob Seelman.
Oh, boy.
Not only going to pop in once in a while tonight, but also working behind the glass, learning all the controls at the Performance Motorsports Network. Jacob, you're contributing tonight with breaking news. What do you got?
Bum, bum, bum. That's right, boys. Breaking news, courtesy of Tony Stewart. We love when Tony jumps in, but in this particular case, Steve-O, you remember when we all got fired up and pissed off and all hot under the collar and bent out of shape about, 2 months ago now, when it was announced that Scott Bloomquist and friends were filing a lawsuit against Eldora Speedway? Remember that?
Oh, I remember it well.
Well, we have news, and news is that the court says, bye, Felicia. The lawsuit as of today, courtesy of Eldora Speedway's press release about 10 minutes ago, thrown out, gone, goodbye, forget about it. And for me, I'm a very happy camper with this. This lets Tony and Roger Slack, Larry Bowes, all the folks at Eldora focus on 2017. Basically, it says there was no evidence to ever support that what you guys did to break the rules didn't actually happen. And for Scott Bloomquist and friends, it just means, okay, you lose. Get over it.
Wait, you mean there was no circumstantial evidence to support their case?
That's exactly what I mean.
Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying.
Man, I'll tell you what, Bye Felicia is the exact appropriate term to use for that. That was absolutely asinine, and I have no qualm saying that. I had somebody come up to me after the show last week on my little rant about people trashing on Super Dirt Week at Oswego, and said, "Man, you got an awful chip on your shoulder when you're doing the show." And it's like, well, some things are just ridiculous, and PMN gives us a hell of a place to share our opinions. They like opinionated hosts, and that's what we're going to be here. So
that's right.
That whole deal was asinine. I'm so glad that the courts stepped in and said, all right, guys, this is crazy. Let's just save ourselves the nonsense and the tax dollars and your dollars hiring lawyers to try and cash in on all of this. And anyway, I'm glad to hear that is all been settled out.
Yeah.
Because that's crazy. Now,
Absolutely. By the way, did I also mention there's this little big show at the dirt track at Charlotte this weekend that we're going to have 9 different dirt car divisions at?
Yeah, the World Dirt Track Championships. We're going to talk about that a little bit later on. We've got a whole bunch of guys here from the Northeast that are packing up, getting ready to head down there. I know, talking in the last couple of days, that Kevin Ridley, the whole Gueri crew that we talk to and see out at the RC tracks a lot, are getting ready to head down there. They're taking off at 8 o'clock tomorrow night to head on down. So good luck to those guys and everybody else here locally. We've even got a car, I believe, that competes with us on a part-time basis at Woodhull that's headed down for the week as well. So guys from all over the place headed down to the dirt track at Charlotte. If you can't be there, obviously we'll have coverage on RaceChaserOnline.com throughout the next 2 weeks for not only the Dirt Track Championships, but the World Finals at the dirt track at Charlotte. I know that that's an event that, Jacob, you typically have circled on the calendar without a doubt every year. A big week on the dirt there in the Charlotte area.
Oh, you better believe it, Steve-O. Every year when the World Finals come to town, I get excited. This is a year when I think we could see more than we've ever seen before, more storylines than we've ever seen before at this event. I mean, the Pennsylvania Posse, we'll talk about this a little later, I know, in the show as well, but the Pennsylvania Posse is coming into World Finals with a ton of momentum after sweeping the final Pennsylvania weekend of the season. The Posse has never won at the World Finals at Charlotte. They're going to be looking for win number 1. You've got Donnie Schatz, who all he has to do now is sign into the last 4 races, and he's an 8-time champion, but he wants to go out with a couple of more wins at a place where he's really good. And oh, by the way, this Joey Saldana guy is looking for his 100th career Outlaws win. Almost got it here over the weekend. Not quite. And he likes Charlotte as well. He's a 3-time winner there. So, yeah, we got just a few storylines, and that's just in the sprint cars. Late models, modifieds, hello?
Yeah, they've got it all happening down there. And so a lot of folks excited, headed that way this weekend. We'll be following along. And then, of course, if you want to watch any of the action live, you can tune in to dirtvision.com. They're going to have live video coverage this week and next week as well. So big week down there at the dirt track at Charlotte. We were talking about folks that are going to be on with us tonight. Tyler Siri going to be on with us in the next segment of the program. We're probably going to have him for a couple of segments here. He's got a lot to talk about this weekend with the Dutch Hoag Memorial Sevens Wild Nationals. Now, coming up at 8:45 tonight, we're going to hear from a local Pure Stock driver. The Pure Stocks are going to make a rare appearance at the Outlaw Speedway this weekend for a big $500 to win show. And, we've got We've got several divisions on the card that night, 8 in total, but one of the guys that is taking a particular interest with the Pure Stock division, Jason Shaw, going to join us on the program at 8:45 tonight. So I've got a stacked show, and just to give you a preview for next Tuesday night, if you are looking for more of what we've got coming in the future, next Tuesday we're looking to have both of those Empire Super Sprints Hall of Fame inductees on the show with us next Tuesday. So we're going to work on Lance Young and Mike Van Dusen to come on the program and talk about their upcoming induction into the ESS Hall of Fame. I think that we'll have to ask Dean later tonight at 8:15, but I believe they're now getting close to or at double-digit members having been inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was just started just a couple of years ago. I know that another local legend, Malcolm Lane, was one of the first to be inducted into the ESS Hall of Fame, and that was appropriate enough. But now we've got another one of our local guys, and Mike Van Dusen, who has been a visionary in the 360 sprint car and now 305 sprint car rankings. And so we're going to look to have both of those guys on the program next Tuesday, so stay tuned for that. We're going to step aside here. When we come back, Outlaw Speedway, owner, promoter, and racer going for $12,500 on top of $7,000 to win on Saturday. Tyler Siri will join us after the break here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Max Dairy Bar is a proud supporter of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Opened in 1974, Max Dairy Bar has been a Penn Yan, Cayuga Lake, and Yates County staple, serving the best Hershey's hard ice cream. They also have soft serve ice cream, their weekly yogurt special, sorbet flavors, gluten-free options, frozen Greek yogurt, and non-dairy lemon ice. Don't forget about their tricky 18-hole putt-putt course that will test your skill to see if you have what it takes to be a champion. Max Dairy Bar and Mini Golf, located on State Route 14A, just south of the village of Penn Yan, right on the way to Black Rock Speedway on Friday nights. Visit them online at www.maxdairybar.com or Max Dairy Bar on Facebook and Twitter. Stop by Max Dairy Bar and tell them Turn 5 Live sent you. Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Dan Harpal from Penn Can Speedway, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stephen and Brad Ovens joining you on the program tonight. And coming up here this segment, we're going to hear from Tyler Siri, owner and promoter at the Outlaw Speedway. He's going to join us to talk to us about the Dutch Hoag Memorial and the Sevens Wild Nationals coming up this weekend, formerly known as the Dutch Hoag National Open. And we changing the name this year to the Dutch Hoag Memorial. So now joining us on the hotline is none other than Tyler Siri. And you know, Tyler, we talked right before the break about owner, promoter, driver, and as I understand it, do we add race director to this now?
Yeah, we did. Went over to Rolling Wheels and helped those guys out last weekend and did the race directing, and actually had a great time doing it. It was pretty fun.
Now I've got to. We're going to get right into the Dutch Hoag Memorial, but I just having that unique experience now. Did doing that over the weekend at Rolling Wheels? Did that? You know, you've been able to not only see things as a driver for the past several years, but now you're an owner, promoter of a racetrack, and now you got to be the race director for a day. I mean, talk about this, you know, how different of experience that is, and I have to imagine it's got to be helpful for you.
Yeah, it was. It was a good experience for sure, and I really enjoyed it. I'm glad I could help Dick Starks out and go over and do that for him. But yeah, it's definitely a very key, important role to making sure that the track runs efficient, and you know, you get the classes out there and just run the show. You know, it's definitely a key role at the track for sure.
Now we'll talk about the Dutch Hoag Memorial coming up this week, and you know, with unfortunately losing Dutch just before the season started this year, you know, now instead of the Dutch Hoag National Open, we now rename it to the Dutch Hoag Memorial, and you know, this event, before we get into the rundown for the weekend, I mean, this is such a great tribute to a man that was a local legend and a hero to so many, not only on the dirt but on the asphalt as well. And so, what a great event in his memory this weekend.
Yeah, it is. I want to do something, you know, really cool and special for him. Obviously, he was a legend, and you know, me buying the track from his dad, Dean. You know, so it has a lot of you know, history there with the Speedway and the Hoag family. So, you know, I thought, what way would it be better to, you know, just come out with a big bang, a big show, you know, in memory of him and in honor of him for, you know, his racing career and the Hoag family themselves. And so I thought, you know, keeping the 7 thing going with the 70 laps, 700 to start, 7,000 to win. You know, I thought it'd be really cool to do, and it'd be awesome for the racers. We're going to do some cool things in memory of Dutch too for that show, and not only for the modified guys, but I wanted to do a big show for everybody that supported the track all year, and you know, all the classes that supported us and made it a great season for us. And you know, it's the last race of the season, and you know, so I thought, what better way to do it than to come out with a huge show and end the season on a big note.
Now we've seen. Let's start at the top, and we'll start with the modifieds, and you know, 70 laps, 7,000 to win, 700 to start on Saturday, and you know, starting right with the mods, Tyler, 70 laps. We've not seen that kind of a distance race at Outlaw the past couple of seasons, and because of that, I think we're going to see a hell of a race on Saturday, because you know, this is not going to be a 30-lap shootout. I mean, you're going to have to, you know, you're going to have to take care of your stuff. You're going to have to take care of the tires. I think it's going to be a hell of a race.
Yeah, I'm so excited for the 70-lapper. You know, like you said, we used to do the 30-lap, and then we had the you know, the 50-lap earlier this year. You know, to do a 70-lapper. Or even 100 would be something really cool and different, and yeah, it definitely makes it challenging, because you're not going to know what tires. You know what I mean? It's going to be you got to save your equipment. You got to be smart and patient. You know, it makes it really nice to have in the hot pit that we have. That, you know, if you get a flat tire or whatever, you can come in and change, and you know, that pit area thing also. You know, maybe next year we could do something even bigger where you have to do a mandatory pit stop, and we could utilize that, you know, the pit area that we have. That's pretty sweet there. So, but yeah, it's definitely going to be awesome. I mean, the competition, the car count, the strategy, tires. I mean, it's just going to be a hell of a race for sure.
Now, the other wrinkle in that for folks listening tonight is that it's also open tire, and it's going to be open tire for the modifieds and for the sportsmen this weekend.
Right. We had really good success with that for the Fall Nationals when we did that. And I talked to some of the sportsman guys that went with the Hoosiers for the one night and then American Racers the second night. And they really thought that it was pretty equal. They really didn't see a difference there on that show. So, a lot of guys asked me on Saturday if they could run the Hoosiers, not the Racers. So that was, surprising to me because you would think that the Racers would be a little better. I think maybe, on a Friday night show where the track had some moisture to it, the American Racers, I would think might have an advantage over the Hoosiers. But on these, big shows and where you got a lot of cars on the track, I think they're pretty equal tires. So, this is going to allow, everybody to come play and race their tires, and it should be a hell of a show for those guys too. So.
Now, with the open tire rule, Tyler, just clarify for us, is there any certain number of tires that have to be a certain brand, or how does that work, or can you really mix and match whatever you want to do?
No, there's not going to be any mix or matching. Either you're on American Racers or you're on Hoosiers. Hoosier tires will be 300s and harder. Of course, the American Racers would be 33 and harder. So, that's another, a dilemma, so to speak, that it puts into the racers is, not only does it let everybody come that has Hoosiers or Racers, but it kind of puts a strategy thing out there, what tires they're going to use, or what might be better, or something like that. So, I think it adds a lot of, cool drama to the mix, and it should be really exciting.
Now, on top of all of that, there's also two drivers, including yourself, that have an opportunity to really cash in this weekend and take home damn near $20,000 in the Sunoco Challenge. Going to be you and Steve Payne. You're going to be competing against everybody else, but you guys are really going to be going head-to-head trying to win that one, and how appropriate to settle it all in the 70 lapper there for the Dutch Hoag Memorial.
Yeah, that's super cool for Sunoco and myself, and to put this thing together with Insinger Performance and offer a program like that. I mean, that's pretty awesome that we can do that with partnerships on it, and it's like you say, you could pull out 20,000, Steve or myself, and that's gonna be really cool. But then with everybody coming in. Shepard's coming, I guess. He said on his Facebook that Matt will be there. You got the Varon brothers, father and son there. I mean, there's so many guys that are coming to this event. It's just going to be unbelievable for fans to come watch a show like this with so much at stake. With the Dutch Hoag Memorial to honor him, and the modified competition with all of our local guys, and plus the outsiders coming in, the money on the line to win for everybody. This thing is just going to be an unbelievable show. Steve's an awesome competitor. Congratulations to him again on winning the championship this year. He definitely deserved it, and he was there every week, and he's definitely super consistent. And to battle with him for this deal is pretty awesome. And it should be quite the show at the end of the feature for sure.
Now, in a little while from now, we're going to have Dean Reynolds on the show talking about the Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints coming to town. $3,000 to win for them, $300 to start. I'll tell you, Tyler, I think the sprint car race at the Outlaw Fall Nationals probably was the best sprint car race at Dundee I think I've ever seen. Last lap pass for the win by the Cobra of all people. That should be another thrilling finish, which would make it thrilling finishes all year long. So that ought to be pretty exciting.
Yeah, I love the sprint cars at Outlaw Speedway. That track is just perfect shape, and the banking, everything on that track is just awesome for the sprint cars. And what a show they did put on. Even going back to the NASCAR night, what a show that thing was with the sprint cars. And I stopped and talked to Tony Stewart up in the booth, and he had mentioned that was one of the best sprint car shows he's seen in a long, long time. And he can't wait for next year, and so he can start racing his sprint car again. But he thought that was a phenomenal show. I mean, he couldn't believe how great the heat races were. Passing 2-3 wide in heats, and and then the Fall National Sprint Car Show, that was just unbelievable. The top 4 had a shot to win it with 1 to go, and what a move Cobra put on coming out of 2. But, I'm just so excited to I tell you what, if you're a race fan, I mean, this package that we put together for this show, it's just got something for everybody to come to see. And, I'm so excited just as a fan, not alone just being the owner and promoter, but I can't wait.
Well, we'd like to hold on to you here for a second if we could, Tyler. We got to step aside here, but we'll go through the rest of the divisions, and we'll talk about Friday night when we come back.
Great.
All right. We'll have more with Tyler Siri from Outlaw Speedway coming up next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Do you love the sound of high-revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him going on to fascinate millions with his talent? 1 in 260,000. The odds of this born racer having 157 career top 10 finishes in NASCAR? 1 in 125 billion. But every driver seeks the pinnacle of their achievements. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year? 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism? 1 in 68. I'm NASCAR driver Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs. Early diagnosis can make a lifetime of difference. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to the Performance Motorsports Network, your authority on motorsports of all types. Be listening for the most accurate and up-to-the-minute coverage of every motorsports activity that you enjoy on a daily basis. Be it NASCAR, be it IRL, be it Formula One, be it drag racing, be it dirt track, off-road, props, hulls, whatever. We are your source for motorsport. Performance Motorsports Network.
Hi, race fans. This is Billy Dunn, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network with Outlaw Speedway owner and promoter Tyler Siri on the hotline, talking all about the Dutch Hoag Memorial coming up this Saturday, October 22nd. And before we get into the rest of the divisions, Tyler, we're talking about the big show Saturday, but we also want to talk about the fact that you guys have open practice on Friday night, October 21st, practice from 7 to 10, free grandstands, pit passes $20, with a DJ and a bonfire in the camping area from 7 to midnight. This is a great opportunity for folks to come out and camp for the weekend. I know there's a lot of folks already talking about doing so and looking forward to that. But talk to us a little bit about Friday. This is going to be a good opportunity for guys to come get some hot laps and plot out their parking spot for Saturday.
Yeah, well, this event's going to be so big, car count-wise and stuff like that we, if you can come Friday and get your spot and get in there, it's going to be, a big benefit, so you don't have to wait in line early Saturday morning, and, it's going to help things move right along. It's free. You just come in, park your hauler. It's going to be all first come, first serve. So we encourage guys doing that. And then obviously if you want to stick around and practice, it's $20 for a pit pass. And, from 7 to 10, you can practice and get your car figured out, especially for a lot of guys that haven't been here before. It'd be a great opportunity for them to get their car dialed in for Saturday's show.
Absolutely. Then we'll get into the rest of the divisions on Saturday. We talked a little bit about the Crate Sportsman open tire there. $1,500 to win, $150 to start for the 30-lapper. The IMCA Modifieds, $1,000 to win and 25 laps. And I'll stop here for just a second because the IMCA Modifieds making a lot of news over the last week as it was announced that the I-88 Speedway is going to be dropping the IMCA Modifieds for 2017. You've still got this big race to go this weekend, Tyler, but, regarding the IMCA classes, there been any discussion or talk of what Outlaw Speedway will do with the IMCAs for next year?
Yeah, actually, we got news from I-88, and we've got news from another track that's not going to do them next year as well. So, we're going to continue to grow the class, and, I really like the IMCAs. I think it's a great class, and, we averaged probably the most of anybody this year, car count-wise, which I think was, 13 or 14. We want to see that thing get up to, 22, 24. So, we're definitely going to, stick with them and try to keep making it, a better class, keep giving them a better racetrack, and, we want to grow it. We want to grow the series, and I think, with 1 or 2 tracks not running them next year, it won't spread the cars so thin around the southern tier, and, we're looking forward to a stronger field for those guys for next year, and, we've talked to IMCA already about the future for them at Outlaw Speedway just yesterday, matter of fact, with Jim Standard, and so it's looking very positive, and we want to grow the class for next year.
Well, that's good to hear. I know a lot of folks are going to be interested in hearing about that, and certainly with the news that I-88 was not going to continue on with that division, that's a great opportunity for that class to continue to grow there at Outlaw. Also looking at some other divisions competing on Saturday, of course, the annual Empire 100 for the street stocks, easily their biggest race of the season, $2,000 to win, $200 to start. It is going to be a great show, as it always is. The 100-lapper is always one of the better street stock races in the area that you'll see. They've got 2 of these 100-lappers to pick from throughout the year, but looking forward to that one there on Saturday. Now, the pure stocks will be in attendance on Saturday, $500 to win, 25 laps there for the pure stocks. Tyler, talk to us a little bit about the pure stocks being on the schedule there. Is that's a class not normally raced at Outlaw?
Yeah, what we want to do is, to be honest with you, if you look around, everybody's has, these street stocks, the older street stocks, you call them pure stocks now, that, people have them behind their garage or in the woods, or, they just, the street stocks have kind of, put themselves on their own pedestal as far as, how they've become money-wise, and it's just the street stock class is really, it's an awesome class, but it's gotten expensive for the guys, so I think this pure stock class would be a great class for a guy to get between a 4-cylinder, and then he can jump into a V8 class. And it's something that's, very affordable. So it gives the racers another option, to get into racing, or, a really good budget class. So if we can get some really good support this weekend from these guys, that, I'd definitely be entertaining putting them, on the schedule for next year on a weekly basis. So, racing is very expensive. It takes a lot of time to do, as we all know. So, I just think it's going to be a great class to build on in the future with the 4-cylinder division. And like I said, if we can get the support from the guys out there, next year we'll run them every week.
And then you mentioned the 4-cylinders, and they've got a $1,000 to win 25-lap show, 4-cylinder open outlaw style. And, this, you guys made a small tweak to the rules that were put out there for the Outlaw Fall Nationals, and I think this is really going to make the rear-wheel drive 4-cylinders and the front-wheel guys that much closer. You guys have cut the weight down to 2,300 on the front-wheel drives, and I think that the feedback from the front-wheel guys was that, if they could get just a little bit of a weight break, that it might make them just a little bit more competitive against the Mustangs. And so with that being said, we've heard a lot of good feedback from the drivers so far, and that should be another great show. A.J. Petrobowski sweeping the weekend back in September, but another $1,000 on the line for the 4-cylinders. And Tyler, I know in talking to you all season long, these guys, they may have the least amount of money per se in the cars, but boy, they don't show it when they put a show on.
I'll tell you, man, I've said it all year that, this is one of my favorite classes at the track. I love to sit in the tower and watch them. They run 3-4 wide around there, and man, what a show they put on. And they are in the budget class, and but hey, they pay the same amount to get in the pits as we do as modified drivers, and they supported us, with 24 to 33 cars strong every week, and when I went to this deal at the Fall Nationals to do this 1,000 to win show, some people were looking at me like, that's kind of a lot of money for that class, isn't it? And I said, absolutely not. I mean, they proved everybody that they showed up, was it 51 or 52 strong on Friday night? So I'm excited for these guys, and I'll keep on putting specials on for them. It's just an exciting class, and I'm anticipating that we'll be at that 50 mark again for this show, and who knows, maybe we'll get more. And talking to the guys there, the only complaint they had was like you were saying, with if we could get a little weight break for the front wheel drive. So I'm hoping and thinking that the 2,300 and the 25 should be, where it needs to be, and it should be a hell of a show. So. I can't wait for that one, too.
The 600 sprints will also be in attendance, 1,000 to win, 20 laps for those guys. And, boy, they really whip them off there lap-wise at a quick rate there in those little 600 sprints. And just a great show you guys have put together for this weekend. Grandstands on Saturday, $22, ages 12 and under, always free at the Outlaw Speedway. Seniors, $20 there for 65 and older. $40 on the pit pass on Saturday. Gates open at 8 o'clock. Hot laps at noon. Heat races begin at 1 o'clock with a track prep and dinner at 4 p.m. We'll have opening ceremonies at 5 p.m. with a special tribute to Dutch Hoag. And then, of course, the first feature taking the green flag at 5:30. Going to be the best one-day show of the season at Outlaw Speedway, Tyler, and we can't wait to get out there and take it all in this weekend.
Yeah, I tell you, it's going to be awesome. I mean, a couple things, we did the schedule the way we did, so if a guy doesn't want to, if he's got to work in the morning, or, if he can't, be there all day, that you can watch the heats at 1 o'clock and stay, or you can show up at 5:30 and catch all the feature races, and so that should be pretty good for people to judge their schedule for the day. And we're just very excited, and can't wait to get there and get this show going. And the biggest thing too is for the competitors out there to try to get there as early as you can. If you can't make it Friday, get there early Saturday morning. Because we want to make sure everybody gets in the pits, and we've expanded the pit area, the whole parking lots out back, the whole camping area. We're anticipating a huge car count, so we're prepared on our end to handle that. And we just ask everybody to try to get there as early as they can, so we can get the heat started on time, and then it'll help out a lot. So it's going to be first come, first serve, like I said. So we're going to fill in the pit area first, and then the lower pit will get filled next, and then we're going to fill in all the camping parking area down below. We moved the equipment out of the way so we can use that for hauler parking. And then, so where we're going to be camping is in the parking lot area next to Turn 4. So that's where we're going to put our camping for this event. And, we appreciate all the support from all the fans and racers all year long. And, we wanted to put something very special for all the racers. And, it's the last show of the season. And, come out, we're going to cook barbecue chickens and, just all kinds of stuff for everybody to have to eat. So save your appetite for the racetrack on Saturday. And it's going to be a hell of a show.
Well, we appreciate the time as always, and hey, man, we'll see you out there this weekend.
Great, man. Thanks for having me on, and we'll see you this weekend.
All right, Tyler Siri from the Outlaw Speedway joining us on the program. We've got to step aside here. When we come back, Dean Reynolds from the Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints. Stay tuned. You're listening to Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Parents, your son or daughter has had their license for a while now, but you want to make sure they're prepared for any situation they may face on the road. High school driver's ed doesn't teach them to drive defensively. They need to be prepared for any highway emergency. For less than a month's insurance, and a whole lot less, BSR instructors at Summit Point Motorsports Park in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, will teach your son or daughter how to respond instantly and positively to unexpected situations on the road. BSR's specialized accident avoidance training teaches swerve to avoid maneuvers at highway speed, ocular driving, which focuses driving attention on ways to avoid accidents, vehicle dynamics and feedback, skid control and skid recovery, threshold braking on straights and progressive braking on curves, and off-road recovery techniques. This is stuff driver's ed simply doesn't teach. So call BSR today, 304-725-8444. Give your kid the skill set needed to drive safely and responsibly on the highway. That's 304-725-8444.
So when you get to the corner of Smith and Orchard, you're going to want to take a
You
left.
are not going to
then
believe
what you're
this.
going to do is turn
Marcy
into
and
Marcy
Brad
Avenue
just broke up,
and go past
and
the
apparently
first 3
she's
lights,
happy
and
about
then take
it.
the next left.
I don't really
Drive
think
5
she's
more
happy,
blocks,
but
and you should be
who am
there.
I to judge, right?
Park
anyway,
on the right.
That's
I'll
what
see
I
you
heard
later
last
tonight.
night.
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
I
race fans, this is the voice, Shane Andrews of the Big Black Modified Super Dirt Car Series, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. The voice, Shane Andrews, bringing us back from the commercial break. Stephen and Brad Ovens joining you on the program tonight, and we are headed back off to the Race Chaser Online hotline to talk to Dean Reynolds from the Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints. And Dean, as always, appreciate the time on the show tonight in preparation for a big sprint car race coming up Saturday at Outlaw Speedway.
I appreciate it, guys, and we're looking forward to it. It's a good way to bring down our season, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
It's before we talk more about that show, this happened just a couple weeks ago, and I out of all of the opinions and things that were broadcast and put out there from Super Dirt Week, I just wanted to throw this in there because I think that your perspective was a really good one that I heard throughout the weekend, and we had a lot of fun bantering about it in the media tent. But talking about the racing at Oswego with Super Dirt Week, you had a profound statement that I thought really hit the nail on the head. When people saw that first practice session, they said, man, they've only got a lane and a half to run out there, and your comeback was the comeback of the weekend. And it was.
It's already a half a lane more than we ever had on the mile.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then I think, despite the track conditions were rough, we all know that, and World Racing Group knows that, and they're already going through steps to fix that. But they were 3 wide for 200 laps. How can you not love that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. So it certainly gives them a great foundation to build on for next year. If that's, we saw a slide job for the lead. I mean, for me, that's good enough right there. I mean, Stuart Friesen put on a slide job for the lead that, had he been, 10 feet here or there, back or forward from where he made the move, maybe it doesn't work out for him, but he hit it perfect and, made for a great pass for the lead and a good show.
Yeah, I mean, my heart's been at the mile. I've been there 36 straight years. I still love the place. I cried when it was the last Super Dirt Week and everything else. But, the racing is usually secondary there. It's just it's a fuel mileage game. Hopefully the car in front of you might slip out of the groove or something like that. Stewart kind of went against the norm, though, by doing some passing the last couple of years, and so did Billy Dunn. But more times than not, it's it's a race of longevity and attrition, and they always said only 11 cars finish Oswego. I'll tell you what, I can remember 11 cars finishing Syracuse.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. So let's transition from the modifieds to the sprint cars as we've got the Dutch Hoag Memorial this weekend at Outlaw, and I'm looking forward to this one based on the last 2 finishes we've seen at Outlaw Speedway with Mark Smith winning a thriller and Chuck Hebing. I mean, boy, if Chuck didn't look like he was back to form at Outlaw Speedway back at the Fall Nationals, man, I don't know what more you could ask for out of that one.
Yeah, and the work that Tyler's done by adding the clay as the year's gone on, and because we haven't been there since our show in May, and what an improvement. I mean, side by side there in September, pass for the lead on the last lap. I mean, guys coming from the back. It was Black Rock of old, now Outlaw of new, but it was a sprint track again, and it was a lot of fun, and I think this Saturday people are going to see the same action.
Now, this Saturday, does this is this a show-up point show, or does this the last point show? How does that fall on your guys' schedule this weekend?
It's actually a no-point show. We really can't do points with our season being done basically in September. We can't tell the guys to come 5 weeks after our final point show to come back and run. But we opened up the rules. We opened up the rules for Patriot cars, Sillings Grove cars, Oswego cars, anyone that wants to come. It's going to be an ESS run show. We are going to do the timed hot laps and stuff like that. But, we open up the rules, so you're basically legal with your club. You're going to be legal for this race. We just want to welcome everybody to come on in and have some fun. And Tyler's putting up some good money, and I think the fans will be very happy.
$3,000 to win, $300 to start, $100 for non-qualifiers, and we had a great turnout of them at the Fall Nationals. I expect that we'll still see a great crowd here this weekend. As far as 360 sprint guys are concerned, is this one of the last opportunities here for them in the Northeast to get a show in?
This will be probably the last race in New York. I know, up in Canada, of course, they've been long done. I know there's a couple URC races still left on the schedule. People want to go down to Southern Jersey and stuff like that. But as far as our area, this is going to be looks like this is going to be your last shot.
What have been really for you, Dean, following with ESS all season? What's been some of the bigger headlines, kind of recapping 2016?
Well, I think this year it's definitely the battle between Steve Poirier and Jason Barney. These two drivers had some of the best years in ESS history, and just to show you how good they were this year. You're looking at guys that were 3rd, 4th, and 5th in points, Paul Kinney, Matt Tanner, and Parker Evans. They went to every race as well, but yet they finished like 300-400 points behind these two guys. And that just shows you the consistency. And Jason Barney, I think, one time had the top 14 races in a row. Steve Poirier, now the all-time winningest driver with ESS with, 8 wins this year. And it just shows how good of a season these two guys had.
Definitely. Now, the other announcement that we've had come out, I think it was just last night, is you guys announcing the inductees to the Hall of Fame this year, coming up on November 12th. And, boy, talk about two names synonymous with ESS and 360 sprint cars. I mean, two great names being inducted this year.
Yeah, this class, as all the classes have been, but this one's really, really special. We're inducting Lance Young and Mike Van Dusen, and two power names really in the Northeast. And Lance Young started in 1992 and went all the way to 2014, and I think all that time I think he missed like 4 shows or something like that. And then Mike Van Dusen finishing 3 years in a row, second to Mal Lane in the points, and then being a car owner with his son Jeff and finishing second in points with Jeff a couple of years before he finally got that championship with Mike Lutz as a car owner. And Mike's got a long history, a well-liked guy, and I'll tell you what, this class, when I made the announcement last night, you would not believe the response. We got people that just want to come to the banquet just to see them get inducted, which, everyone is welcome, so come join the party.
Well, I'll put myself on that list of people that has taken a big interest wanting to come out and see that. I mean, not just on a level of respect for, we know Lance better than most of the ESS competitors. I mean, back when Brad and I were growing up, with Bubby Carrick being our cousin and Lance Young being from our same hometown, I mean, those were the guys that you always wanted to follow in our little neck of the woods. And, to think that a guy like that is going to be inducted into the Hall of Fame for his sport and for that series that he spent so many years chasing is going to be really special. And I'm personally looking forward to that. And so this will take place right at the Empire Super Sprints banquet. What are some of the details on that, Dean?
We've done their annual banquet. I think this is our 4th year now at Vernon Downs, and this year the other announcement that we made about a week ago is we're handing out $50,000 in cash, and that's a record by far for ESS. And we crown our champion Steve Poirier and all our series champions. We have those series within a series, and then we're paying out point fund money to 20 different drivers that night. and a lot of special awards like the Most Improved, the Rookie of the Year, and John Zentner Memorial. And then during the night, we officially announce and induct Mike and Lance. And then when we come back to Weedsport in August, that's where we do our ceremony there to officially hang their plaques in the Dirt Hall of Fame. So this is the first of two phases really for the Hall of Fame induction recipients.
Good stuff. EmpireSuperSprints.com is where you can find all of the great info, and of course it's on Facebook and Twitter as well. Dean, looking forward to seeing you guys this weekend at Outlaw Speedway. Again, $3,000 to win, $300 to start, $100 for all the non-qualifiers on Saturday. It all takes place at 82 Main Street in Dundee at the Outlaw Speedway. Dean, appreciate the time tonight, and we'll see you on Saturday for sure.
I tell you, I can't wait for not only $3,000 to win for the sprints, but how about $7,000 to win for the modifieds? And then I guess we just heard Matt Shepard will be there, huh?
Yeah, that's what we're hearing. Shepard in the 357 is what we've been told. So that should make for we all know Eastern States is going on, but not everyone can be there, and I think Tyler has got a really good show here, and the fans are going to see some stars at this event, and I'm looking forward to it. I think what a guy to Dutch Hoag to honor, and this is going to be a big night, a big day, and a big night. That's for sure. That's for sure. We will see you out there, Dean, and thanks again for coming on tonight.
Thanks, Brad. Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it. Thank you again.
All right, Dean Reynolds from the Lucas Oil Empire Super Sprints joining us on the hotline, and we've got a couple of minutes here, Brad, before we hit the break. And the race at the Fall Nationals. I mean, I personally didn't get to see Saturday night show with the big modified race and everything, but I mean the race with the sprint cars on that Friday night, the pass by Chuck Hebing on the final lap to take the win. I mean, what a show. I can only imagine what we're going to see on Saturday. I mean, you look at the last two sprint car shows, when you go back to, the August show and then the Outlaw Fall Nationals, in between each of those shows, more clay has been added to the racing surface. And I just think that, the longer we go with that process and the more improvements that Tyler's been able to make to the track is just going to make for a phenomenal 360 sprint show coming up on Saturday. Again, $3,000 to win, $300 to start, and $100 for non-qualifiers there at the Outlaw Speedway on Saturday. We'll step aside here, Brad. When we come back, we're going to dive into some results from the past week. We've got a couple of shows that were both won by Eric Rudolph at the Brockville, Ontario Speedway. And then we've got to talk about the World of Outlaws because, well, stick around. We'll tell you about it next here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
You own a performance car and you know how to drive, but you want to learn real performance driving. Well, Bunky, get that car off the street and onto the track. Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier road racing facility, located just over an hour from D.C. in nearby Summit Point, West Virginia, is the place to go. And you'll find that Friday at the track is going to give you what you need. For less than a monthly car payment, you can attend this regularly scheduled one-day instructional event in your street car on one of Summit Point's 3 world-class road racing circuits. You'll receive classroom instruction, skid pad instruction in their cars, including front and rear skid control, and 4 20-minute in-your-car instructional sessions from a professional instructor. Have fun, go fast, and really learn how to drive. Call 304-725-8444 for class schedules and details. That's 304-725-8444. Friday at the track at Summit Point Motorsports Park.
Green light. Hey girl, school zone. I'm getting hungry. Car changing lanes. You want to meet me for pizza? Stop sign. Intersection clear. Yeah, street. Pizza sounds good. Ballin' Street? Girlin' Street!
It's hard to concentrate on two things at once, like texting and driving. Stop the text, stop the wrecks. How will you stop texting and driving? Tell us at stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Here's an important message from RAD and this station.
Hi, this is Bob Sheehan from Blues Traveler for RAD, recording artists against drunk driving. I like to party just as much as the next guy, maybe even more, but the one thing I won't do after I've had a few is get in the car and drive. Don't blow it. Always choose a designated driver. Remember, music lives, and so should you.
Motorsports Sales Professionals. Performance Motorsports is looking to build a team of experienced media sales professionals to represent our programming to the industry's top companies, magazines, and racing series. If you have motorsports sales or marketing experience, know how to work with agencies, understand social media, and are incredibly creative when it comes to working with clients and promotions, then we want to hear from you. Top performers are richly rewarded. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444, or email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Otto Sitterly, driver of the Nicotra Racing number 7, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Welcome back, race fans, to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stephen and Brad Ovens joining you on the program. We got Jacob Seelman and Brad behind the glass for us down at the PMN Race City USA Studios in North Carolina, bringing you tonight's program.
Dun, dun, dun.
And, yeah, Jacob, let's get right to it, man. We teased it in the last segment. So why don't we start with World of Outlaws?
Oh,
because the PA Posse had themselves a weekend this past weekend, didn't they?
Oh, gosh, did the Posse ever have themselves a weekend, Steve-O? You talk about the National Open, which usually we know is a $50,000 to win race at Williams Grove. The Mother Nature intervened 3 separate times and decided she was going to not play nice and rescheduled it to this past Friday night at Williams Grove. 40 laps and $25,000 to win, but that did not stop the Pennsylvania Posse from coming to play. Danny Dietrich, with 2 laps to go, pulls the slide job to end all slide jobs, a la Stuart Friesen at Oswego, to take the lead from Joey Saldana, who was going after his 100th series victory with the Outlaws. And Dietrich in that 48 car, Steve, we've not talked about him all year. We've talked about the 69 car with DeWeets and Kreitz, that pairing. You know, they've been the team to beat all year. But Dietrich, the 48, gets it done, leads the final 2, and he called it in victory lane a dream. And he says, if I'm dreaming, nobody pinch me because I don't want to wake up. This was a career win for Double D Danny Dietrich. I loved every minute of it. For once, it wasn't shots, and that crowd, you hear it on the highlight reel. That crowd went absolutely mental.
Oh, they did, and for good reason. I mean, we saw his performance at Fulton here just a week prior. And, you know, he was fast. I mean, I don't think anybody was going to beat Donnie Schatz on that night, and certainly they didn't. But, you know, that run at Fulton kind of, to me, Jacob, really gave Double D some momentum headed into the National Open. And he cashed in on Friday night. And, you know, anytime, and we talked about this, I'm going to say it's probably been a month or so since we talked about this on Motorsports Madness on Monday nights. But the fact that it has been, you know, the National Open itself has been an event where the PA Posse guys could really, you know, strut their stuff and show and prove that, you know, having that weekly experience at the Grove could really pay off in a big way.
Absolutely. I think it was about a month or so ago, Steve, that we were talking about this, and you're right. You know, this is a race where if you play your cards right, of course weekly experience is going to help. You know, it sometimes the touring experience isn't all it's cracked up to be, and these guys who run there consistently, Greg Hodnett, Danny Dietrich, Lucas Wolf, you know, those guys can make it happen, and they made it happen in this race. For Danny to win this race, it's the first time It's the first time in a couple of years, I feel like, that we've really gone, wow, at a posse member's victory. Stevie Smith won it last year, but none of us were surprised by that because, well, it's Stevie. You know, we know what he's capable of. But Danny was one that kind of had fallen off the map a little bit, I feel like. So that's why this was huge. And it was even more huge when we go to Port Royal on Saturday night and ba-da-ba-bum-bum-bum, your guys' favorite outlaw, who's also a posse member, oh, by the way, decided he's going to become a multi-time World of Outlaws winner. Hello, Logan Schuchart. Welcome to the fraternity.
Yeah, I love this race at Port Royal being on the schedule. We have seen in the last couple seasons young Pennsylvania born and bred drivers pick up just huge victories. Ryan Smith being one of them.
Yes.
And now Logan Schuchart. Jacob, you and I talked about this before the show tonight. This was probably the biggest win of Logan's career and probably the proudest one for Bobby, his grandfather, over the weekend.
Absolutely it was, Steve. And I have some well-versed sources at the racetrack who I can promise you nobody from the team will ever admit it, but there were some tears dropped in Victory Lane when Logan slid off the front of the wing, Steve. We haven't seen that celebration in a while from anybody on the Outlaws. It's usually stand on the back, pump your fist, have some fun. No, Logan slid all the way down the front of the wing, and then, you know, the coolest part for me, before he did his Victory Lane interview, before anything else, he made sure all the family and friends, everybody that was there in Victory Lane, got a hug and made sure that they knew that he was thankful they were there before the Victory Lane interview. For Logan, that the family and the friends who were there, that was what was most important. And, you know, that's what this team is about, guys. That's what this whole operation has always been about. It's been about the family. It's been about the guys who make the sacrifices. It's been about the little people, as they say. And to me, that spoke volumes about how big this win truly was, not just for Logan, not just for Bobby, not just for Shark Racing, but for the entire sprint car community that knows these guys, that love these guys. And I don't know that if you talked to any driver in that field at Port Royal on Saturday night, I don't think you could get anybody to admit that they were disappointed that Logan won that race.
No, definitely not. And this is, you know, there's certain times that not only with the World of Outlaws, but other traveling series that, you know, there's a certain number of drivers out there, Jacob, that, you know, the rest of the drivers can look and say, you know what, if I can't win this race, boy, I'd like to see that guy or this guy win the race. Or they just look at, okay, who won tonight? And they say, oh, the 1S to Victory Lane. And the drivers, not even in their pit area yet, say, man, you know, they've just got a respect level knowing that, you know, these guys, you know, there was certainly some detractors when, almost 3 seasons ago, these guys announced that they were going to go full-time on the tour. And, you know, here they are, you know, not just making races and going track to track, they're now winning races. And we've seen this progression all throughout 2016. They went from a top 15 car that, you know what, they can, on good nights, they can make the show and move up a little bit from where they started. Then they became a top 10 car. And then this season, you know, the second half of this year, Logan has become a top 5 car who's been a threat to win more times than not. And, you know, to see that progression, and yes, I mean, we are big fans of Logan. He's always been very kind to us with his time being on our program here. But honestly, Jacob, just to see his progression and this team's progression, it's got to be rewarding for them. But as media folks like ourselves that, you know, have had a great opportunity to get to know some of these guys, it's just a cool story.
Oh, yeah, it really is. It really, really is. And it's a story we love to talk about because it warms the heart. And that's what, that's the quality that we don't get enough in this whole motorsports deal nowadays. So, hats off to Logan and what he did Saturday at Port Royal. Oh, by the way, the only non-posse member in the top 5 in that race was Donnie Schatz in third. The other 4 were all posse members, just to throw that out there. The World of Outlaws this week are at Lakeside Speedway in Kansas and at the Salina High Banks in Oklahoma. Before, Steve, as we talked about at the top of the show, they head to my neck of the woods, right down here near our Mooresville studios, to the dirt track at Charlotte to close it all out, not this coming weekend, but next weekend with the Bad Boy Off-Road World Finals at Charlotte. And didn't we have a Super Dirt Car Series race up there in Canada somewhere, too?
We sure did. Up at the Big Boss, Brockville, Ontario Speedway. And you know what? We could talk about the big blocks and the small blocks separately if you want to.
The winner, I don't think we need
same.
to. Yeah, I was going to say, the winner's the exact same guy, so I don't think we need to. It's a clean sweep, and I love this, because it's not often somebody beats Matt Shepard in a big block. It's not often somebody beats the Dr. Danny Johnson, Stuart Friesen in a big block. But when you beat all 3 of them in sequence, and oh, by the way, it's a guy that we also love to talk about on this show, like, Eric Rudolph, it's fantastic. First win of the season for Eric, and who would have thought this? I mean, Brockville has not been statistically one of his better tracks over the years, at least on the Super Dirt Car Series, but to see him break through like this, Eric's such a likable kid, Steve. I think we can call him a kid compared to some of the rest of the guys on tour, and this was just a really quality win. For him to win the small block race on Friday and then back it up with the big block 100 on Saturday, it's like, oh, he hasn't forgotten how to do this, and I think we knew that, but, Eric needed a jolt of confidence. He stayed at Oswego and had to give up the chance to collect on the Short Track Super Series championship, and that team needed something. So this was a quality win, in my opinion, for Eric, and it really, I think it shows that this performance level they've kept up all season, it's not a fluke.
No, and I think that this weekend at Brockville was exactly what Eric needed after. If there was a bad break to be had at Oswego, Rudolph had it. I mean, it had to have been just a painful decision to have to make, knowing with the way the rainouts fell, that he was not going to be able to go to I-88 to try and lock up that championship with the Short Track Super Series. But, to have the bad luck he did, but then to go to Brockville and sweep the weekend. And Jacob, there was only 2 guys that were faster than him in qualifying with the big block, so you knew that he was going to have a great shot at it. The only guys faster than him were Stuart Friesen and Dale Plank. Yes, the natural Dale Plank, who set fast time for the night on Saturday. You just knew that with winning the small block race on Friday, Rudolph was going to have a great shot at it Saturday, and he closed the deal. That's for sure. It's just, looking at the top 10, you had Rudolph, Matt Shepard second, Danny Johnson third, Stuart Friesen fourth, Larry White, Lightning Larry, the top 5. 6 through 10 was Kerry Terrance coming off the top 3 at the Oswego Speedway. 7th, Ryan Arbuthnot, in a great run there for Arbuthnot in the 33. Jan Boussier, who had some tough luck, not only at Oswego, but some of the satellite shows at Super Dirt Week. He was 8th. Keith Black was 9th. And Batman, Peter Britton, rounded out the top 10 with the Super Dirt Car Series up at Brockville. The Super Dirt Car Series will be off for a week as they get ready for the Bad Boy Off-Road World Finals at the dirt track at Charlotte, October 27th through the 29th. It will be the final stop for the Super Dirt Car Series as the 2016 Big Block Modified Champion will be decided and crowned at the dirt track at Charlotte. So stay tuned for that. We will come back here right after this break. We're going to talk to Jason Shaw talking about pure stocks, and Tyler Siri talked about them here on the program just a couple of segments ago. Now we're going to talk to one of those competitors. Jason Shaw will join us on the program next, here on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Every 30 minutes, another innocent person is killed due to a drunk driver.
My best friend, my brother, my poor grandchild,
my sister, my father,
my husband,
my mom, my mommy.
Well, I've been afraid of changing, 'cause I've built my life around you.
Stop these tragedies before they happen. Don't drink and drive.
Do you love the sound of high revving motors and the smell of burning rubber? Do you want to get your car sideways right at the ragged edge of control? If you've always wanted to try drifting or learn to improve your drifting skills, Summit Point Motorsports Park, the Mid-Atlantic's premier motorsports facility, has the expert instructors and the specialized track to teach you how to drift and the skills necessary to drift competitively. From skid pad to open sessions, Summit Point Motorsports Park has the safe and open environment that allows drifters of all skill levels, new to intermediate, to get sideways and smoking. With a focus on safety and the skill set necessary to drift competitively, Summit Point Motorsports Park's Drift Nirvana is just the thing for you. Call for your reservation today, 304-725-8444. Or for more information, go online, summitpoint-raceway.com, or you can email them at office@bsrinc.com. Drift Nirvana, getting you sideways the right way.
If you own a gun, you have a full-time responsibility. When you aren't using it, be sure it can't get into the hands of curious children, troubled teenagers, a thief, or anyone else who might misuse it. Your family, friends, and neighbors are all counting on you. Remember, always, lock it up. For more information on firearm storage safety, visit ncpc.org. This message brought to you by the National Crime Prevention Council, the Bureau of Justice Assistance, and the Ad Council.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is Chuck Hebing, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Ah, the Cobra. There could be a name to keep your eye on this weekend. Could the Cobra make it 2 in a row at the Outlaw Speedway? We will all find out together this weekend, and what a thrilling finish back there in September when Hebing won the Outlaw Fall Nationals. We're headed back to the RaceChaserOnline.com hotline, your motorsports your way every day. We've got Jason Shaw holding for us, and he's ready to talk pure stocks. And Jason, appreciate the time to be on the show tonight. I know that this is a division that you're awfully passionate about, and we appreciate your time talking about it.
I'd like to thank you, Steve Ovens. I mean, this is like I said, you hit the nail on the head, and so did Tyler Siri. I mean, it's a great class,
Talk to us about why it was that you got involved with Pure Stocks and what it is that drew you toward this division.
Well, I started out racing at Outlaw, on the 4-cylinder class, and it was, I loved the 4-cylinders and all, and then a friend of mine was like, hey, they're going to build an enduro class down here, and not too far across the border from Elmira. He says V8 class, and I said, well, let's try that, And we took a 4-door car and blew the windows out of it, and I was hooked from there, you know, and then I wanted, you know, get back into the V8 class, and I bought an old pro truck, and I was going to race it in the street stock class, but I just couldn't afford the money that, you know, that the guys are building for engines. I mean, you know, on a budget and, you know, with family and everything else, it's a tough situation. But I mean, this class come about. I got friends that run Skyline and other tracks, and it's an affordable class. I mean, you don't have to have a lot of money, just like, you know, to run this class. I mean, basically, you know, any V8 engine, 305, 350, 360 Mopar, 318 Mopar, they're still out there. So, I mean, as far as that says, you know, that's why I'm passionate, because this class is so inexpensive to run.
And earlier tonight when we had Tyler on the show, he was talking about the fact that, you know, for a lot of these guys, this is the perfect step from a four-cylinder. And when I say that, I'm talking, you know, for these guys that are not only racing rear-wheel drive Mustangs, but, you know, even the front-wheel drive division. This is a nice step in between that four-cylinder class and the street stock class that, you know, let's face it, guys, we're 10-inch tires away from being back to what the old super stock class was with our street stocks these days. So in your opinion, Jason, you know, is this really that next step up for these guys to be able to transition to?
Oh, most certainly. When I was listening to the show earlier and Tyler said that, he couldn't have said it more perfect, and I was in awe over it, because I'm like, that's the way. That's exactly what it is. You know, it's just that transition.
Yeah. Now this weekend, you know, Tyler talking about the fact that the pure stocks were added to the lineup for this weekend, and it kind of sounds like this weekend could almost be a dress rehearsal or an audition, so to speak, for the pure stock guys. What are you hearing in your circle of racers and in the pure stock community about this show this weekend?
I'm hearing a lot of buzz, a lot of excitement. You know, I got guys, you know, calling me and asking me questions, and you know, basically, as I said to them, I said, you know, you're going to a great facility. You know, they already race at 5 Mile Point and Skyline and Pencan and, you know, all these places, but, you know, with tracks closing up and, you know, no one knows what goes on here or there, you know, and I said, you know what, this gentleman's got it right. He's offering us to put on a show. Come on, bring your cars. I want everybody to show up. You know, even my guys from down there across the border in PA, you know, that ran the hill, you know, the old Dutch Hoag Speedway. You know, I've been talking with a couple of those guys down there. Said, come on, bring them on up. You know, let's show Mr. Siri, and you know, that, you know, we can put on the same exact show, you know, that we do, that you would do at any other track. You know, and it just gives us another opportunity for another place to run. And the more tracks we have to run, I feel that's a better opportunity as a racer to, you know, step up to the next class or whatever it may go into, because this is the foundation. There's not a lot of adjustment on these cars. You know, it's really very inexpensive, and you know, that's Devon County hearing the buzz, and some people are excited about coming, and I'm hoping to see a lot of people out there Saturday night, you know, Friday and Saturday. I've encouraged everybody to come Friday night to practice and, you know, shake cars down and whatnot. So it'll be interesting to see. You know, I'm hoping that everybody I talk to and burn up the lines with, hopefully that I'll be able to see those people out there and we can put a show on for these guys.
Absolutely. You guys, you know, there's been a lot of talk, and I love how active the Dirt Track Talk Facebook page is. It seems like there's a lot of you know, really interesting and you know, a lot of personable budget racers that love to talk factory stocks, pure stocks, whatever it is that your track or your area calls them. I saw something where they've got, they're trying to get a lot of these drivers and maybe even people from tracks together to try and talk about, trying to come up with a rules package. And this is the biggest challenge, not just with the factory pure stocks, but with the street stocks as well. The biggest problem, to me, the biggest challenge is trying to get everybody on the same page rules-wise. There's no reason why a guy all the way out at Batavia at Genesee Speedway couldn't travel all the way to Susquehanna, PA at Penn Can and know that he's not going to have to make a thrash of changes when he gets to the track because his car doesn't fit the rules. It looks to me like there's a group with that page, Jason, that are trying to make progress in getting people on the same page. Can you enlighten us any on what's going on there?
Yeah, I've talked to a few of the people that are putting on meetings and stuff like that, and I'm all for that. And I told them, I said I would love to attend. Unfortunately, I'm going to be at Outlaw that weekend of the meeting that the boys are going to have down in the Binghamton area. But yes, and I'm in agreement with what they're saying, to have a set of rules that will go across all the tracks, Skyline, Penn Can, Outlaw. Just like you said, it is a lot to change your car over at the last minute, and to pay all that money and then find out, well, it doesn't fit, sorry, you can't run it. Well, this is where I agree with the rules all being on the same page. It doesn't matter where you go, you pull the car in, and it's going to pass because everybody's following the same rules.
Is that one of the biggest challenges that you see with the pure stock class right now, or is there an even bigger challenge the class faces than that?
I think that's it. I mean, the rules are pretty vague. I mean, it varies from track to track. It's pretty wide open, so I mean, you can really kind of, it's pretty much tricking it up a little bit so everybody's on the same page. You don't got one guy running, this big wild motor and another guy's running, it's everybody on the same page. And I think that's what they're really striving for and, really, really want is just exactly that. Everybody to be on the same exact, rule page and, tire-wise, DO2 tires, not running racing tires and stuff like that. It's more of a budget class than anything, and everybody, there's always going to be difference of opinions on power plants and transmissions and suspensions and stuff like that. But I mean, for the most part, I think we're all on the same page as having the same exact rule book, no matter where it is, and for any, for whatever car, manufacturer it is. And I think that's what we're all striving for is the same across the board. So we don't have to build two different cars for two different tracks, and we can just get out there and race our cars and show off our hard-earned paychecks every week and put on a fan. It's all about the fans, and a lot of people do this. You do this because you don't get rich. You do this because you love the sport and your family and friends. And this is definitely a class, V8 wise, and making that transition years ago myself. I'm excited that Tyler is basically putting on the race for the weekend, putting the show in, and I'm really excited. I'm hoping that some of the people I talk to I will see at the track, and I really want this class to take off. I mean, it is a very inexpensive class. I mean, a couple guys can get together and buy a car, and you don't have to have an expensive motor. You go to the junkyard and get a 350 out of a Caprice Classic, a Monte Carlo, or whatever. They're still out there. Yeah, there's far few in between, but they're still out there. And put it down in the car and go racing.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll tell you, this has been a really good introductory conversation. And I think that now that we get into the off season and we really get to dig into some topics here on the program, I think just bringing in as many people as we can in a 2-hour show and talk about this division and the challenges that they face and what can we do to get these places on the same page. I think this will make for a hell of a discussion in the future. And Jason, I appreciate the time for you to come on tonight to help us start that discussion. I think that's something that we ought to plan in the future for sure.
Oh, I was looking forward to it, Steve. I anything I can do to help with this class. I'm a very passionate person about it. I have my good friends that are going to have cars up there, this weekend at Outlaw, and we're all excited about getting our cars out on the track. And it's another thing I want to put in there too is it's kind of cool to see, a car that maybe, your family member drove, or even your mom and dad drove. It might have been a, Chevy 2-door, Caprice Classic, or a Monte Carlo, or Thunderbird, or whatever. And, just to see those cars go down the track, go, you know what? I rode in a car like that.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
Well, Jason, thanks again for your time tonight, and we'll definitely get a hold of you here as we get past some of these fall shows, and I think we're going to have a whole episode dedicated to Pure Stock, so we'll be getting a hold of you again.
All right, I appreciate it, Steve Evans. We'll see you this weekend.
All right, that's Jason Shaw talking about Pure Stocks, and like I said, guys, I think that this is a topic that would really be fun to really sink our teeth into coming up after we get through some of these fall season shows and wrap all of that up. It would be pretty interesting to get some viewpoints from not just Jason, but some of these other guys that are trying to get the rules and the tracks on the same page, and that would be a really, really good discussion to have. So thanks to Jason for his time tonight. We'll step aside here. When we come back, we're going to talk about the Dirt Track World Championships coming up this weekend at the Dirt Track at Charlotte. We'll also talk about the Big Lap Sponsor Program coming up for the Empire 100 on Saturday at the Outlaw Speedway. You're listening to Turn 5 Live here on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
Okay, so Sarah, I'm dropping you off at Emily's?
Yep.
And Josh, you're going to?
Soccer, Dad. Soccer practice.
Right. Oh, by the way, I just wanted to let you know when I pick you both up, I'll be wearing my short shorts.
What?
No!
Yep, and my dorky dad hat, and I'm going to do my dad dance for all your friends. They'll love it!
Seriously? Why?
Because I like my short shorts. Of course, I could be talked out of it if you guys would just buckle up your seatbelts without giving me a hard time.
It's important to get your kids to buckle up for safety, no matter what it takes. And sometimes, all it takes is your parental powers of persuasion.
Okay, we're buckling up.
See, all buckled.
Good choice. I'll just have to do my dad dance at dinner time.
What?
No!
Do what you have to make sure your kids are wearing their seatbelts, even on short drives. Never give up until they buckle up. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council. Visit safercar.gov/kidsbuckleup for more information.
If you're a gearhead and you just can't get enough of your favorite motorsport on that channel on the cable, or you look at that Guy network and you just go, what does that have to do with me? We have the answer. Performance Motorsports Network. Right here on the internet. The best cruising tunes, the best in motorsports programming, and the best shows. We have opinionated hosts, and we like it that way. If you want to get involved, if you want to bench race, be listening for information coming up soon right here on this channel, the Performance Motorsports Network. Your source for motorsports.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live and the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust, the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
Hi, race fans. This is Gary Tompkins, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
All right. So, Gary Tompkins bringing us back from commercial break, fresh off a solid run a couple weekends ago at Super Dirt Week at Oswego Speedway. And, we're talking about coming up this weekend is going to be a big weekend, not only for guys here locally in the Northeast, but guys from the Northeast traveling down to the dirt track at Charlotte, as we've got the One Dirt World Short Track Championship. Say
Absolutely.
that 5 times fast.
That's right, Steve. And by the way, thanks to Ben Shelton and the folks at OneDirt.com for putting up the title sponsorship for this weekend's event. Ben, obviously a very good friend to dirt track racing everywhere. He's been a good friend to all of us here at PMN for a couple of years now, and was the former voice of the World of Outlaws late models for how long. So, good to see them jumping on board with this, Steve. And I believe if we counted right at the top of this show, 9 divisions this weekend. 9?
Yeah, it is going to be a massive program for sure, and it's so actually I've got they actually just came out here a couple days ago with the announcement for the division sponsors, and so this is interesting. You've got late models, you've got 360 sprint cars, you've got pro sprint cars, you've got the UMP modifieds. You've got the Hoosier Tire Pro Modifieds. You've got the Crate Sportsman. You've also got Mini Stocks. You've got the VP Racing Fuel Sportsman Modifieds. And then you've got the Gotta Race Hornets. There is going to be, if you like dirt track racing, we've got a division for you at the World Short Track Championship. And Jacob, I have to say that, when they first announced this event, I cringed a little bit. I was a little skeptical, I'll admit it. I was just worried that we were maybe watering down what is an incredible way to cap off the year with the World Finals. But after I saw the reaction to the racers, particularly for me up here in the Northeast, that, and I know that there's going to be cars and guys traveling from everywhere, but one particular class that I'm going to point out here is our Crate Sportsman Modifieds. These are guys that, love to race those Sportsman Modifieds. I mean, they run a modified chassis with a 602 Crate engine between the frame rails. And, in the last, I'm going to say 5 years, there has been such an increase in the big shows that this division gets to participate in. And even though I was a little hesitant at first when they announced the World Short Track Championship, after seeing the reaction from these guys up here in the Northeast that are just ready and raring to go, to travel all the way down to North Carolina to compete in this event, and know that they're going to go up against some of the best names, not just in our neck of the woods. I mean, we're going to have cars from all over the place. This is an awesome stage for these guys. We've got big events up here like Outlaw 200 weekend at Fulton. Jacob and I were talking about that earlier tonight before we went live. That's an event that pulls 80 to 90 sportsman cars for that event. They had a huge number of them come out to Super Dirt Week, and now these guys have an opportunity to race at the dirt track at Charlotte. And so even though I was hesitant at first, Jacob, this is just flat cool for these guys. They've got just as much passion as any other division that'll compete at the World Finals, and now they've got their own little stage to stand on. I just think that's awesome.
Amen, brother. It really is. I'm very, very excited about it. And, we were talking about it earlier, and you said it, and I'll reiterate it. This is the biggest stage that some of these drivers will ever run on, period. This is the biggest stage for some of these divisions that they have ever had in their careers, and may ever have in their careers, because of what this racetrack is. It's the dirt track at Charlotte. It's the mecca of all dirt tracks, or as Bruton calls it. He does the same thing with the drag strips. It's the Bellagio of dirt tracks, and I think that's very true, because there is no more state-of-the-art facility than this facility here at Charlotte. All eyes will be on this racetrack this weekend. That's what we're going to be watching. That's what's going to make it so much fun. And all I got to say is, for the guys that win it, it will be a moment that they will never forget for the rest of their lives. This is going to be a weekend, and if you can win, this is going to be a victory that sticks with you for the rest of your life. And whether you're, as we heard at Martinsville on Sunday during the big late model race out there, whether you're a nobody from nowhere or you're a somebody who's won everything there is to win in your class, if you can win this race, you've done something. And that's going to be what I'm watching this weekend. That, I think, Steve, that's the hallmark for this weekend.
What puts it into perspective for me, I think, is the fact that there's a lot of these guys and gals this weekend that are going to take part in this event that otherwise, Jacob, they would probably be spectators at the World Finals coming up the following weekend. And with the creation of this event and the great support from One Dirt title sponsoring the event, this has now taken them from being a spectator, just enjoying the racing with their buddies, to competing themselves. And if that's not what dirt track racing's all about, I don't know what is. It's been quite an experience of how I've kind of changed my mindset on the event, and the fact that this is going to be such a big stage. All of these events are going to be broadcast on Dirt Vision. I mean, for the folks at home that aren't going to be able to make the trip, or maybe they take their vacation for the World Finals, so they couldn't stretch out 2 weeks before it. They're still going to be able to watch. This is going to be broadcast on the same network that the World of Outlaw Sprint Cars and the World of Outlaw Late Models, and it's just, it is really, really something special. So, props to Dirt Car for putting this together. They're calling it the inaugural Dirt Car Racing Family Reunion.
Yes, I love that.
Yeah, that is just a great that's just a great way to dub it, and of course it's right at Dirt Car and World Racing Group headquarters there in Charlotte. So what a great couple of weeks here for dirt track racing as a whole, and good luck to all the competitors heading out there that way for it. And then of course, the World Finals coming up the following weekend. And, as we look at some of the national headlines, Jacob, you've got, championships are being decided. Of course, the World of Outlaws Craftsman Late Models and Craftsman Sprint Cars and Super Dirt Car Series will be crowned the following weekend at the World Finals. But why don't we catch up with the Lucas Oil Late Models as
you read my mind.
Yeah. They crowned a champion this past weekend.
They did, but they also had a young winner in Victory Lane. Now you're going to say, wait, didn't you just talk about this? Now, this is a similarly named event. Instead of what we've got coming this weekend, which is the World Short Track Championship, over the weekend, the championship race for the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is the Dirt Track World Championship. So we can get those twisted up very easily, and that's a discussion for another day. But as it is, This race was fantastic. 100 laps for, for those who aren't familiar, the Lucas Oil Tour is the rival tour to the World of Outlaws Craftsman Late Model Series. And Brandon Sheppard, wow. This was a very impressive deal. He's just 23 years old, and Best Performance Motorsports. Most people know Brandon as the guy who shocked the world by winning at the World Finals a year ago in the finale World of Outlaws Craftsman Late Model Series race. But Brandon's been one of those who's been in the headlines because he was one of the guys suspended for 3 months earlier this season for the whole tire doctoring debacle at Eldora. So what does he do? He comes back to the Lucas Oil Tour. He starts 21st on Saturday night and drives around, Josh Richards, that guy, on lap 77 of 100 to go to victory lane for the second time in this race. And Steve, what's big here is the fact that he didn't just win the race for the second time. This race carries the biggest payout in the country for dirt late models. He pocketed six figures, $100,000 to win this race. Scott Bloomquist wins the Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series Championship for the third time, ties himself now for second on the championships list in that series with Jimmy Owens. But Brandon, this is a career win for him. Yes, he won it once before, but this $100,000 was the biggest payout of his career. And when you think about the money that he was giving up for the races he missed mid-season for the suspension, this is a really good way to earn a lot of that back.
I'll say, did you say 100,000?
$100,000 to win.
Oh, man. To think what we could do with $100,000.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Oh, man. So that was big for sure. A lot of these guys now have the opportunity to kind of take their collective breath and get themselves ready for Charlotte. As we look toward the World Finals coming up the weekend after this coming weekend, I mean, can we really even narrow down to favorites? I mean, I feel like the World Finals has really proven that it can be a pretty wide open race in all of the divisions.
It really can be, because we've seen surprise winners in a lot of fashion over the last couple of years. I mean, heck, last year in the sprint cars, you saw Dusty Zomer. I mentioned Brandon Sheppard's win from the late models a year ago. The big blocks have been a little bit more predictable, and I think the big blocks will probably be the most predictable of all the races this year. But, gosh, Tim Fuller, I think it was last year, wasn't it, Steve, that surprised all of us with the big win at the World Finals?
Well, it's guys like that, yeah, Jacob, absolutely. That can just kind of pop up and boy, look at a guy like Eric Rudolph who just blasted off a weekend sweep at Brockville. I mean that certainly gives you some momentum. And a guy that we had on the program earlier tonight, Tyler Siri.
Sure,
he's going to be making the trip down to Charlotte.
Oh,
and
really?
Yeah, I mean, even though he doesn't consistently run with the Super Dirt Car Series, I mean, that's still a team that, man, if they can get it close, he's proven all season long at Outlaw and some of these races he's gone to in the off season that when the lights get bright, man, they can really make it happen. So.
Yeah, they can. Let me take about 30 seconds before we take our last break and kind of lay out what I see happening. I think the Super Dirt Car Series is certainly going to be predictable, Steve. I don't think there's any way to stop the role that is Matt Sheppard this season. I see Sheppard winning at least one, if not both of the features during World Finals weekend because he's Matt Sheppard. But keep an eye on Tyler Dipple. He's come so close 2 years in a row now in the Super Dirt Car Series at Charlotte. I think he's going to have something to say before it's all said and done. Late models, it's going to come down to Josh Richards versus Scott Bloomquist. That's all there is to it. Richards has been the man. Scott Bloomquist has been the man. It's time to put the two of them head-to-head, see whether the 0 or the 1 comes up victorious. My money's on Josh only because he loves Charlotte, and he wants to break Darrell Lanigan's single-season wins record, there we go, with his 18th win of the World of Outlaws late model season. Sprint cars. You can't predict sprint cars. I'm just going to say toss the field up and pick one, kind of like we do for Talladega in NASCAR, and that's what's going to happen. Sammy Swindell in the car that Dusty Zomer used to win one of the World Finals races last year, the Blazing Race in '82. He's the guy to keep an eye on. I'm not going to pick a sprint car winner, but you can't count out Slammin' Sammy. You just can't.
Big Cat. The Big Cat.
Brad Sweet?
After an early season where he was just straight on it, I feel like in the second half of the season, Brad just kind of disappeared.
Died. He just died.
I mean, so why not? Why not the Big Cat? That's what I say. Hashtag why not the Big Cat?
I love it. So I don't know, Steve. I guess we got a few more people to please, so we'll step aside here real quick. When we come back, I guess we'll dig into some more closing thoughts and wrap this one all up. What do you say?
Yeah, let's do it. We'll step aside when we come back. Let's take a quick look at some of the Empire 100 lap sponsors for this weekend, as we have got just 2 laps left to sponsor, and we'll have all 100 laps of those covered for this weekend. So we'll talk about that to close out the show here tonight on Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network, the voice of motorsports.
For 17 years, Stock Car Steel has been a leading materials supplier to the racing industry. Now they're also an official motorsports content partner of Race Chaser Online. The biggest names in NASCAR trust Stock Car Steel for all their raw materials, such as carbon steel, chrome moly, DOM, aluminum, plastics, and much, much more. You can't build a race car without the basic materials, and Stock Car Steel is the place to get them. Don't forget to also visit Stock Car Steel's sister company, SRI Supplies, for racing and industry. SRI is your #1 source for all your shop supply needs. Nuts, bolts, rivets, tapes, adhesives, cutting tools, chemicals, body shop supplies, paint shop supplies, lubricants, and more. A well-stocked race shop is a winning race shop, and the road to winning begins with 3 letters, SRI. For more information, visit stockcarsteel.com and SRI-supplies.com. You can also find them on Facebook at Stock Car Steel and Aluminum, or call either company toll-free at 1-888-752-7272.
Creekside Entertainment is the official DJ, photo booth, and uplighting company of Turn 5 Live on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stuart Ovens and his staff at Creekside Entertainment are professional and experienced with events of any type. Creekside Entertainment specializes in wedding packages that are affordable and fun, and they are ready to serve you with the most up-to-date music and karaoke selection. If you can sing it in the shower, you can come out and sing it with Creekside Entertainment. And don't forget about the Creekside Entertainment photo booth and uplighting service that will transform your wedding or party into an event the family will be talking about for years. Trust the entertainment company that racers trust. Call Stu at area code 315-481-9700 or visit them online at creeksideentertainmentdj.com. You can also find them on Facebook and Twitter. Creekside Entertainment, division sponsor of the Black Rock Bandits in 2015.
We're growing like crazy and need account reps who know their way around agencies, the internet, and social media. Got connections? Or do you know how to get to the decision makers? Are you fearless? We need you. Internet radio, or as we call it, wireless mobile radio, is rapidly becoming the place to be with almost limitless income potential. So contact us to get involved with the fastest growing professionally produced group of internet radio stations in the world. Your imagination is the only limit here. Call 717-749-0444. That's 717-749-0444. Or you can email us at scorpionradiogroup@gmail.com. You want to ask for Sue.
Hi, race fans. This is Matt Shepard, and you're listening to Turn 5 Live on PMN.
Jacob Charlotte pick.
Oh,
Matt
boy.
Shepard bringing us back from commercial break here on Turn 5 Live as we get ready to wrap it up here tonight. And obviously you've got the dirt track. Oh, boy, I bluffed it there.
The One
Jacob.
Dirt World Short Track Championship.
Yes, One Dirt World Short Track Championship. I couldn't even say it once slowly. But there you go. We've got that coming up this weekend at the dirt track at Charlotte, North Carolina. We've also got the Dutch Hoag Memorial coming up this weekend. And we've got just a couple of minutes left with you here tonight. And I want to send a shout-out to John Stewart and his wife for doing a phenomenal job of selling out all but 2 of the 100 laps for the Empire 100 for the street stocks here this Saturday. We're going to have, we should have just about or over $4,000 in lap sponsors and contingency prizes for Saturday's event. And it is the biggest street stock race of the season in our area. $2,000 to win, $200 to start, all of the lap sponsors and contingency prizes. And that, again, if you're not familiar with that program, it rolls through the first 7 positions. The leader gets the money on lap 1, second place gets the money on lap 2, all the way to lap 7 for the 7th place driver. And then on lap 8, we go to the top and we go back to the leader and down through the top 7. This is a similar... actually, I shouldn't say similar. It's the exact copy of the system that Brett Deo uses for the Short Track Super Series. So it really helps spread that money out quite a bit, and we've seen drivers, take hundreds of dollars in lap sponsor money home at the end of the event. But big event coming up this weekend. Brad, I thought it would be fun to bring in here to do some picks. We've got about 3 minutes left here in the program. So let's start with the modifieds. The Dutch Hoag Memorial, 70 laps, $7,000 to win. Race number 3 for the Sunoco Championship, and I'm going to go to you for a modified pick.
I'm going to go with a guy who's got a few championships and dozens upon dozens of wins. Steve Payne picks up the $7,000 and picks up the $12,500 for the Sunoco bonus.
Wow, he's going with Payne. I like it, man. I like it. I'm going to go with a guy that has had a good season at Outlaw. Wasn't dominant. He was in the point race. And, had it not been for an accident at Oswego, I think would have had a much better finish in his big block. They had a pretty good finish in the small block. This race is 70 laps. This track is going to be hard. It's going to take rubber. And as they say, when the track gets slicker, AJ Slideways gets quicker. I'm going with Alan Johnson for the Dutch Hoag Memorial. Brad, how about the 360 sprints? This should be another thrilling finish.
I'm going to go with a guy who probably should have 3 or 4 wins in a 360 sprint car at Outlaw Speedway, and I'm going to go with Mark Smith. That guy is good. He's on the wheel. He won the big money race at the Coal Cup. He's going to take it down if he shows up.
All right, very good. I will also kind of have that clarifying factor there is, I'm pretty sure that we'll see Chuck Hebing. So if we do, I think he makes it 2 in a row at Outlaw. He showed back at the Fall Nationals that he is back to form at a track that he has just owned over the course of his career. I think Chuck Hebing takes down the 360. And real quick, Brad, Empire 100 street stocks. Who you got?
Empire 100 lap race. Need a consistent driver who's going to take care of the car and the tires. Dylan Cece's got my pick.
Well, I'm going with him. He has just flat kicked everybody's ass this season. I'm going with the 61 car. I think Chuck Winslow closes out a record year with a win in the Empire 100. Those are our picks, and again, no favoritism here. We're just having fun. We'll be back with you next Tuesday night to recap the Dutch Hoag Memorial as well as the Wonder Short Track Championship. For Jacob Seelman, Brad Ovens, I'm the host of Turn 5 Live, Steve Ovens, saying thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday night for an all-new edition of Turn 5 Live.
Turn 5 Live is a copyrighted production of the Performance Motorsports Network. PerformanceMotorsportsNetwork.com is a member of the Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated and may not be rebroadcast, replicated, or saved in any media without the explicit written permission of PMN. The opinions expressed on this program are those of the host, co-host, and guest, and do not necessarily reflect those of the management and ownership of either the Performance Motorsports Network or Scorpion Radio Group Incorporated, the advertisers, or marketing partners. Thank you for listening to Turn 5 Live. You can listen to Turn 5 Live every Tuesday night right here on the Performance Motorsports Network. Stay tuned for more great PMN programming.
Everything's better when she's around. Can't wait till the parents go out of town. I fell in love with a girl at the rock show.